Hello, friends, and welcome back to my channel English Stories with Neha. Today I'm going to be reading a short story called The Bare Necessities of Contract Law. It's by Troy Phillips. It's a retake on fairy tale character of Goldilocks and the bear's story in a courtroom drama. The Bare Necessities of Contract Law. Here it goes. By Troy Phillips. Goldilocks Lockwood vs. Bear Family, Small Claims Court, Woodland District, case number 2024 SC0847, transcript of the plaintiff's open statement. The court, Mrs. Lockwood, you may proceed with your statement. Miss Lockwood, thank you, Your Honor. Sounds of paper shuffling. My name is Goldilocks Lockwood. I'm a licensed house-sitting professional, bonded and insured, operating in the Forest District for the past 5 years. I hold certification number 4721 GL from the Forest District Professional Standards Board, and I'm a dues-paying member in good standing. I'm here today because the defendants, Mr. and Mrs. Bear, seated right over there with their son, who I noticed still wearing that sailor suit, has refused to pay me $450 for services I rendered in full between October 14th and 17th of this year. Services, I might add, that they specifically requested through the Econ Exchange platform. It has now been 37 days since I completed this assignment, 37 days of emails, 37 days of payment processing delays, and we need to discuss some concerns. I will remain professional, Your Honor. I promised myself I would stay professional. Let me start at the beginning. On September 28th, I received a booking request through Econ Exchange. The listing was titled, and I have a printout here, Exhibit A. Responsible house sitter needed for Coze's Foray Cottage. The description said, and I quote, "We're looking for someone to watch our lovely home while we vacation at grandmother's house in the southern woods. Must love nature, full house privileges included." Full house privileges, Your Honor, those are the words, not mine, theirs. Mrs. Bear, that's her in the floral dress, the one who won't make eye contact with me, sent me a series of messages after I accepted the booking. I have these as well. Exhibit B, she wrote. "Make yourself completely at home." She drew a little waving paw. By hand she scanned it, and Mr. Bear added separately in his own message, "Eat whatever's in the kitchen. We don't want anything going to waste while we're gone." Your Honor, I want to be very clear about something. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a fortune teller. When clients tell me in writing to eat their food and make myself at home, I believe them. Apparently, the Bear family operates under a different understanding of these concepts. Now they have filed 3 specific complaints to justify the non-payment. Unauthorized consumption of porridge. Your Honor, when I arrived at the Bear residence on October 14th at 9 a.m., the exact time specified in our agreement, I found 3 bowls of porridge sitting on the kitchen table, 3 bowls still warm, arranged in a neat little row. I would like anyone to explain to me how this could be interpreted as anything other than breakfast left for the house sitter. Actually, Your Honor, I'd like to address that point. There were 3 bowls, but the Bear family also has 3 members, all of whom were supposedly leaving for grandmother's house that morning. So either they prepared an extra bowl specifically for me, which is what I assumed, or they somehow forgot to eat breakfast entirely. I don't know which interpretation reflects worse on them, honestly. Regardless, as a licensed professional, I'm trained to assess consumers for freshness and safety. The first bowl, I have a photograph here, Exhibit C, was 147 degrees Fahrenheit. I carry a food thermometer. It's a professional habit. The temperature is hot enough to cause 3rd-degree burns. That's a liability issue. The second bowl was cold, congealed. I did not eat it. I would like some credit for that. Third bowl was at safe, appropriate temperature, and yes, I consumed it. And then I went to the court to notice this. I cleaned the kitchen. I purchased replacement oats with my own money. I have the receipt. Exhibit D. I left those oats in their pantry, still sealed for their return. They're claiming I stole from them, Your Honor. I bought them groceries. Complaint number 2. Long pause. I need a moment. Water pouring. Complaint number 2. Willful destruction of antique furniture, specifically 1 child-sized rocking chair. Willful destruction, Your Honor. I'm 5 feet 4 inches tall. I weigh 126 pounds. I have no criminal record. I have never deliberately broken anything in my life, except a New Year's resolution, my engagement to a man who turned out to be lying about owning a boat. This chair, which they are now calling an antique worth $800, a number I noticed has increased from the $600 they cited in their original dispute, and the $400 they mentioned in their first email, collapsed beneath me on October 14th. Let me describe the sequence of events. I completed my initial walkthrough, checked all windows, all doors, are all entry points, standard protocol. Then I sat down to complete my arrival report. Option 1, a large leather recliner positioned directly beneath an air conditioning vent that was, I'm not exaggerating, blasting Arctic air into the room. I have a circulation condition, Your Honor. My fingers turned blue. I made a reasonable choice to avoid it. Option 2, a mid-sized rocking chair with a metal spring protruding through the seat cushion. Our photograph, Exhibit E, you can see the spring. It is pointed upward at approximately a 45-degree angle. I would describe it as aggressive. Option 3, Junior's little rocking chair, which appeared to be structurally sound. I sat down gently, carefully, the way a professional sits in client furniture, which is to say with caution. The chair held for approximately 11 seconds. I did not break this chair, Your Honor. This chair was already broken. If you look at Exhibit F, the close-up of the fracture point, you can clearly see pre-existing stress fractures in the wood grain. There's visibly dry rot on the left rear leg, and if you look here approaching the bench, may I, Your Honor, the court, you may approach. Miss Lockwood, thank you. Right here you can see what appears to be a previous repair attempt using wood glue and I think wishful thinking. This joint was already compromised. A gentle breeze could have finished this chair off. A particularly ambitious month could have finished this chair off, and I would like to point out I rolled clear of the collapse. Their homeowner's insurance would be involved. We would be in a very different courtroom right now. They should be thanking me. Instead, they're accusing me of vandalism. Complaint number 3, audible sigh. Unauthorized use of beds. All 3 of them apparently. Your Honor, I was hired for a 3-day house-sitting assignment. 3 days. Where exactly did they expect me to sleep? In the yard, in the forest, hanging from a tree branch like some kind of bat? House-sitting, as defined by the Forest District Professional Standard Board, requires overnight presence at the property. That is the point, that is the service. I cannot protect their home from intruders if I am at my home 15 miles away asleep in my bed. I tested each sleeping surface in the home for the same reason, tested each chair to identify the safest and most appropriate option for my 3-night stay. The son's bed was the opposite. I sank approximately 14 inches into the memory foam. I had difficult getting back on. The guest room bed, the guest room, Your Honor, a room that exists specifically for guests, was perfectly suitable. I slept for 3 nights as required by the terms of the service they purchased, and I left it better than I found it. Exhibits G, H, and I document all 3 bedrooms upon my departure. I also, while I am on the subject, discovered a 6-week-old banana hidden beneath a pile of blocks in Junior's room. Achieved sentence. I disposed of it. Again, you're welcome. Now, Your Honor, I could rest my case here. The evidence speaks for itself, but I think it's important for this court to understand what kind of clients we're dealing with. After I received the dispute, I did some research. I should have done this before accepting the booking. Blame myself for that oversight, but I trusted the platform. I trusted the process. I have submitted as Exhibit J a compilation of reviews from previous service providers. I would like to read a few selections for the court. From Little Red House Sitting Service. This bear seemed so nice at first, but then disputed the charge after I'd early completed 3 days of pet sitting. They claimed I looked at their belongings suspiciously. I'm a cat sitter. I was looking for the cat. From Gingerbread Cottage caretakers, do not work for this family. They will invent reasons not to pay. My crime was using the bathroom. From Snow White's Premium Property Care, they told me to help myself to the fridge. I ate an apple, 1 apple. They tried to claim I stole $50 worth of produce. Do you see the pattern, Your Honor? Because I see a pattern. The lure in service providers with friendly messages and promises of full house privileges. They encourage us to feel comfortable, to make ourselves at home in their words, and then once the work is done, the manufacturer complains. It's a scam, Your Honor. A deliberate, premeditated scam designed to extract free labor from hardworking professionals. I want to talk about what this has cost me. Not just the $450 they owe me, though I do want that money, and I intend to collect it. I've spent 5 years building my reputation, 5 years of early mornings and late nights. My rating on Icon Exchange was 4.9 stars. Hours after submitted my invoice, the Bears posted a retaliatory review within 1 hour. 1 hour, Your Honor. They called me destructive, greedy, and potentially criminal. My rating dropped to 4.7. I've had to explain that this dispute to 3 potential clients. One of them declined to book with me. That is $600 in lost business, directly attributable to the defendant's defamatory statements. They're not just refusing to pay for services rendered, they're actively trying to destroy my livelihood, and for what, to save $450 to feel like they've got one over the blonde girl who ate their porridge. Your Honor, I entered their house at exactly 9 a.m. on October 14 using the key they left and the third flagstone to the right of their front door as instructed. I completed all duties outlined in our service agreement. I went above and beyond, watering their plants, feeding their goldfish, accepting their packages, chasing away a suspicious man who's lurking at the tree line at midnight. They know what the man wanted, by the way. I reported him to Woodland District Watch. He was a huntsman with a history of breaking and entering. I quite possibly saved their lives, and they won't pay me $450. I'm asking this court for the following: the original invoice amount of $450 plus $600 in documented loss business due to defamatory review plus court filing fees of $75 for a total of $1,125. I have copies of all documentation. I have photographs, I have timestamps, receipt, messages, and reviews. I have everything, Your Honor, because I'm a professional. One final note, Mrs. Bear, noticed you replaced your front lock door smart. It was basically decorated before, maybe 3 millimeters of plain that deadbolt. But just to be clear, the fact that your locks were easy to pick does not make me a burglar. I had a key. You gave it to me under a rock. Thank you, Your Honor. I have nothing to fear. Thank you, Miss Lockwood. Mr. Bear, you may now present your response. Mr. Bear, you need to speak up. I said she ate my son's porridge. The court. Is that your entire defense? It was the good oats. Court finds in favor of plaintiff. Judgment $1,125 plus interest. Following this rule, Ms. Lockwood implemented a new policy requiring 50% deposits from all clients. The Bear family's Econ Exchange account was suspended pending review. The retaliatory review has been removed. Ms. Lockwood's rating has been restored to 4.9 stars. So friends, this was the short story, The Bare Necessities of Contract Law by Troy Phillips. Hope you liked it. If you've got any story recommendations, please mention it in the comment section. I would love to read it to you the next time round. Additionally, I would want you to please like my content, comment, share, and subscribe the channel. So with the promise to meet you again sometime else on some other episode, some other time, this is me, Neha, signing off for now. Until then, take care.